You are live. Yay.
I'm excited.
Yay. So here we are. We're back for another episode of Self Care is My Job. I hope you people are getting used to seeing me weekly, sometimes more than once weekly, because I mean, these conversations are big and juicy and amazing. And I have yet another awesome, amazing, beautiful soul with me this morning. Heather Nieves is with me. Heather, hi, Heather. How are
Hi.
you?
So good.
Um, I'm gonna pop into Facebook and I am going to tag you. So how you feeling today? How's your day morning been so far?
I'm excited. I'm excited.
This is
We woke up, I think just before 7, and that's a good morning. That's not too early. I feel good. I'm a morning person. I'm not a night person. So
yeah,
I just love our energy together. So I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this conversation. I woke
beautiful.
up today. My day one of my cycle started, and until I sat down and we started chatting before we pressed live, I was like, my body's tired, but it wasn't something that I wanted to cancel. It wasn't like you know what I mean? Like some days
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I just don't want to show up today. I want to
yeah.
honor the rest. So I think there's such a difference of pushing through and then showing up for something when you don't feel 100%, but because it's something that you love. And just there's that fine line between I really love this and like, am I doing this all the time? So this is the things that I
Right,
don't push through all the time
right.
because it's not necessary and it's not something that I desire. Satisfaction is my signature for human design as a generator. And so I've given myself permission just over the past year to cancel things. And that was really big for me because I am a person of integrity and I feel like holding up to my promise is extremely important. However, there was a cost
Mhm.
of really not enjoying it fully or burning myself out. Um, our time is precious as mothers. And, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you subscribe to the masculine hustle, I think, again, that's another conversation. There's this very fine line of mindset is everything. And I keep challenging people saying, embodiment is everything.
Mm.
And we're in the new paradigm of our way of being. And especially during our menstrual cycle. And I know that that was your last podcast, and we don't have to get into it because that's Anna Herrendine's expertise. But
Go back and listen to
yes,
episode or like no, it's Mom Bob number 2, hormone cycle. Go back and listen.
I
Oh
love
my
her
god.
so much. On day one of my cycle, I'm messaging her, Anna, I need to talk about my period with you because my husband doesn't care about hearing that my symptoms weren't like they were in past months. It's, our husbands we do need to normalize that that's not this ill, icky, weird. This is our incredibly magical body that is experiencing this shedding
Mhm.
every month. But circling back, I feel good and I'm excited for our time together.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Amazing. No, it's true. It's like, we do have to, pay attention to the fact of like, especially like, okay, I say, how do you feel? Like, how you doing today? Right. So, what if it was like something where you could say, well, I'm on my cycle and like, I really, like you just said, like I almost canceled because I'm so exhausted, like, and I'm trying to honor my body instead of it being like, I'm fine. So
No,
then we start to
I
normalize
mean,
the
I don't
conversation.
tell everyone
Yeah, no.
all the things, but I'm getting to a place where not just close people, more and more people where it's like, hey, listen, this is really how I am. I think there's boundaries, not this neighbor that I'm walking down the street talking to, but
Mhm,
especially as women in business, hey, I
mhm.
didn't show up today because my cycle started and I'm honoring my sacred body. And so either I took a nap or I comforted my body with the most delicious foods that she was craving and whatever that may be. And so it's just we get to experience this as spiritual beings. I know you want to talk about spirituality today. We get to have spiritual experiences in this human body, and we are meant to have the full spectrum of our human experience as well.
Mhm, mhm.
So we're feeling the menstrual cramps. We're feeling the shedding of the blood because our body didn't create a child. So this is the process that goes through every single month.
Yeah, it's
It's
beautiful, actually.
beautiful.
We're pretty darn powerful, I believe. So,
Mm-hmm.
um So yeah, we tapped into this a little bit. I want you to tell us a little bit about like what you're focused on now. I know you've pivoted a lot in your business and in your focus, your service to others, specifically women. You've been of service to me. I am immensely thankful that you showed up in my life, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm just going to absorb all of the information I can." But the way that you showed up in my life was, I think first through like networking, and then it was like, "Ooh, the yoga connection and everything." But you've pivoted since into the world of human design. So, would you mind? I have a feeling that there are a lot of people who are listening who are like, WTF. What is human design? I mean, I can certainly give my little like, what I've learned, but I want to hear it from the source. Like, what sparked your interest in it, and like what is this all about?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. We as entrepreneurs sometimes think, oh, it's not what it's like there's this resistance to changing our introduction because we found what we're meant to be doing, but
Mhm.
then it changed. So there's this like grieving of this identity and this way of showing up that we get attached to. It was a
Mhm.
process for me to shift and evolve, and pivot is this big word last year, right? So many
Yeah.
people pivoted, but it's our natural organic way of evolving and unfolding, and I've used that word unfolding a lot, like a rose. And so I'm unfolding, and we're growing, and we're remembering, and it's this really just beautiful process. But so, we can go back, but I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19, but really since I had my son, I was in network marketing, and really that's a lot of a time in a woman's life where she still needs something for herself and wants to financially contribute, right? And so
Mhm.
I was representing companies, and I got to a point where someone wanted to hire me as their life coach. I'm like, wait, me? Wait, you don't want my products? You want me?
Mhm.
And so I stepped back and I thought, whoa, I have to do a little bit of work on myself. And I was pivoting then, and I
Mhm.
left network marketing and I started teaching meditation so women could understand their relationship with food. And then it turned into your relationship with your body. And then body positivity came into my life. And then yoga came into my life. And that was a huge healing time for me because I gave myself permission to just only focus on yoga, eat whatever the hell I wanted because there was just years of dieting and restriction. And so there
Right.
was weight gain. So yoga does not cause you to gain weight, but it was just there's going to be this period of binging and exploring and out of control when you've been depriving, right?
Mhm.
And so in California, I found meditation, I found yoga. And when we moved to South Carolina almost 2 years ago, it was this beautiful combination of body positivity and yoga. It was I Love Me Yoga.
Mm.
And then I opened a yoga studio here in South Carolina. It was like a mini. So it was a space within a space, and I could hold 8 yoga mats. And it was a huge leap for me, a really
Cool.
huge leap. I definitely don't fit in here in South Carolina, especially living in California for 3 years. We had previously lived in Connecticut, and I again pivoted and really grew my business beautifully online. And then come October, November, December of just this past year, I was not as excited to show up for yoga as often. And I kept pulling the crumbling card in the Work Your Light deck, right? And then Kali was coming up. And so there's something dying, and I could just feel it happening, but I was clinging to it because I still had women in my membership and a couple people that liked me. But I have a friend that she's my nurturing, motherly, very, I will pour my soul out to her. And she's like, if you need to take a pause, it's okay, right? So I,
Mhm.
in the midst of going virtual, I was taking a course to grow my business on Instagram, but like a whole new paradigm way. And in that course and in this other networking I've been doing, because I've been networking online for a really long time,
Mhm.
I won a free human design reading from Jennifer Bronsnick. And
Awesome.
so she did a reading for me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But then just kind of forgot about it. And then it came up again in this Instagram course that I was taking, but I wasn't connected to the woman. So I sought out people in my network, had another reading. Our Virgos clashed a little bit. But there were so many beautiful lessons for me. And my ego was checked, because she even showed me in my human design that I like to be right. I'm like, yeah, because I made a mistake on my date of birth. It's like, me? I don't make mistakes, not those kinds of mistakes. So
don't call me out.
It's so good for me when I have these humbling circumstances, because I am willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I'm willing to admit when my ego was running the show. And I know this is kind of turning into a longer story, but at that time, I just fell in love, and it was just this permission to be me. So human design, to answer your original question, is this marriage of, I always say, think of astrology on steroids. I heard there's this woman, Casey Brown. I follow her on Instagram, and she did a podcast episode, and she said, think of those directions you get from IKEA. They're usually in a different language. They do have it in English, but they're hard, but they're your map. And if you actually follow them and you're patient enough to go through them, it will guide you to what it is that you would like to create. Yeah. So she said human design is like IKEA directions, right?
That's
and so
amazing.
human design,
that's a perfect example.
there's some of the chakra system, but we are 9-centered beings now energetically, not just 7, because the energy centers, the chakras split in the late 1700s, because we're evolving, and even energetically. Right. There's the Kabbalah, there's quantum physics, there's a little bit of genetic coding, but that gene keys jumped off into a whole nother, but there's a little human design connection. But just like Buddha received a download, this man, he ended up receiving a new name, Ra Uru Hu, just in the 80s, was in Ibiza, Spain, and received this download. But there was an explosion with the neutrinos in space, where he received the download, and where we were receiving these particles, this energy, to understand who we truly are. And so for me, it was just, there's so much validation. And I was, most sessions, yes, that's so me, that's so me. But we've all been conditioned to deny that, which we already know inside of us. And so it was this permission, all right, I can let go of any insecurities I've had about all these things I've already known about myself, and fully step into them and fully live them, because this is confirming who I am. So human design is the science of differentiation. It's not a religion.
Right.
And it's actually something that is an experiment.
Right.
And it's a spiritual experience once you start to live by design. And it's so fascinating. It's so validating. And I'm doing a quantum human design certification. After I learned about all of it, I did some self-study, but then I'm like, no, I need more. I need more. Yeah. I need more.
Nice. Beautiful. Jennifer says, hello, beautiful souls. My friend Carlos is popping in. Hey, everybody who's listening. So yeah, I am obsessed myself, not only with you, but the concept of human design. I have my second session with you, I believe, this upcoming week. I'm
so excited to go into your energy centers and your channels and your gates. And
I'm so excited. Like, so just to give, like a reference for what this means on the receiving end of it. For me, sitting and having a human design reading with Heather, like a couple things came up for me, and this is part of why I do this show, is so that I can share my journey, because this is a form my view is that human design, like you said, it's a science, but it can also be, and it's a form of spirituality, or a mode of spiritual self-care, in my opinion. So if it's going to bring you to a place where you're really like looking at yourself, and you're doing some kind of self-discovery, that's going to come, help you come out the other end feeling more connected to your true nature and your true essence. That's spiritual self-care. So I just want to like, like couch it in this way because that's why we're all here. But also, like, so for me specifically, one of the things that came up for me was, since I'm a projector, which basically means that I am going to really amplify, like, as far as my relationship to other people, I'm going to be amplifying their energy, which makes so much sense. For example, Anna, who I interviewed just last week, who was a mutual friend of ours, she says to me, um, I'm also a projector. And that's why whenever somebody says, has an issue or has like a question or a concern, I know exactly what to tell them. I know exactly what they need to do. And it's just like, zeroing in. It's like, I feel the same way. I can beeline right to what you potentially need. Now, can I do it for you? No, I can't do it for you, but I can direct your energy pretty damn good. So right there in what I'm saying, even saying something like that, like I can direct your energy pretty damn good. I may or may not have been comfortable even saying those words before having this reading with Heather, depending on the day, right? Depending on the mood and the day and the season. But in other words, that's an example of that permission that we're talking about. That permission to say, well, fuck, that is me. That is so me. So why the F am I hiding it? Why the F am I not embodying it?
Mm-hmm.
Why
And
am I
you know
putting
what's
it on the shelf and pretending that it's not a thing that I can do? I can do that. And you also, made me realize that I'm, as far as like, I'm definitely like, I can be type A personality and I can be a go-getter, but at the same time, I need rest
mm-hmm.
because of all that energy exchange that I was just talking about, being a projector, and that there's just so much like power there. I feel that I
Mm-hmm.
can, I can be superwoman for 3 days and then I need to rest for like an entire week. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so ebb and flow, and just hearing that was validating because it was like, "Oh god, so I don't have to sit in judgment of myself anymore when I need a fricking
Mm-hmm.
break, and I know I need a break." So we try to release that kind of judgment of ourselves when it's like
Mm-hmm.
we just can't anymore, and there's so many reasons and other topics around that. But this it's just I needed to give my, like, my own story as the example of what we mean, where it's like we can be we can be who we've always been at our core when we release all these belief systems, what we were supposed to be. And this just is
Mm-hmm.
one way of like spiritually coming to grips with that.
Mm-hmm. And I love you and Anna are two very different projectors. So you're both energy projectors. There's three types of projectors and there's two types of generators. Manifesting generators are generators, but that's not what's being taught. And so a lot of the human design world is teaching that manifesting generators are hybrids. That is not true. Ra, who received the downloads, right? This is who we should be learning from. Manifesting generators are generators, right? They're just express generators, right?
Yeah.
They can bring their responses from their sacral into manifestation because they have a connection to their throat, and the throat is where manifestation happens. However, back to projectors, and by the way, projectors and generators work really well together. You feed off my sacral energy, and so you're getting, I have a sacral, I have that energy, you're feeding off of it, but you're helping me direct it. And so does Anna. Anna has more defined centers than you, which means that she just may be a more energetic being than you, but it doesn't only mean that.
I buy that. I take it.
However, that's just, there's so many, the science of differentiation, there's so many uniquenesses in each of you. She's an emotional projector, you are a splenic projector, and your spleen, it's intuitive hits that are quiet, they're not loud. My sacral's loud, spleen is quiet and it's in the moment. And it's very intuitive, very spiritual, very to protect you. It's not logical. So but you have to wait for the invitation, right? And so for me, I'm just responding to life as it comes with me. So projectors are cool because if you just sit there as the lighthouse that you are, I have something magical to share with you. Please come and invite me to tell you about it. Please ask me. It's important. And when we live by our design, whether you're a projector, a generator, a reflector, a manifester, magic happens when you truly sit in your blueprint of who you were designed to be energetically, right? And it's it's for me, it's also like very liberating to learn that I'm not designed to be a go-getter. Manifestors are the ones that initiate. They go after the things. And for me, I can relax because things will come to me, right? And you will get invited, right? So we are just in the flow of life. Because manifestors need us, well, especially me, manifestors need the generators and manifesting generators because we're the workers, we're the go-getters. And so you don't have to really do anything to be recognized except for sit in your magic, sit in that I am a lighthouse with magic to share with the world. Please come invite me to share my magic with you. Please help me direct my sacral energy, right? And reflectors are very unique from everyone else because they're here to have their own process. They have completely undefined or open. They have all white in their centers. All 9 centers are white. Reflectors are lunar beings. They actually have to wait a full lunar cycle to make big life decisions. Right? And the world's not designed for reflectors. And manifestors can initiate, right? And so, and they need to inform because they are in their creative flow, and oftentimes they forget to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And people get or if their creative flow is interrupted, they might get angry. They might like, why did you interrupt me? Like I'm here, I'm in my creative flow. But a really healthy manifestor says, hey babe, this is what I'm doing, right? To the most important people in life. They don't have to inform every single person in the world of what they're doing. But it just helps them to, others can help them navigate their creative process too, and just leave them in their magic.
It's so amazing. Because we talk about, and I wonder whether we could use this as a segue into, embodiment, right? There's always going to be these like, what is the word? Like buzzwords that are flying around the internet these days, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, for a while, even the concept of self-care itself was like this buzzword. And I talk about that a lot where it's like, okay, well, it really should, should mean something different to everyone else. It shouldn't be what you see in the media and on social media as far as what that's being sold to you as. Now, this is a new term that's coming. And you've been talking about not only the concept of embodiment, but unfolding, right? So what does that stuff mean to you?
So canceling my yoga membership was a part of my unfolding because I had no idea what was next. But I wanted to focus my energy on human design and really start to explore Mary Magdalene and the divine feminine and this embodiment. And so here's also with embodiment. When you start to learn about human design, your mind wants to know more. More. Okay, if I know more, then I'll be in my purpose. But here's the thing about human design. Unless you are living by your strategy and authority, the more is meaningless. Need to embody your strategy and authority. You need to embody and live by your strategy and authority in human design. And so that is an unfolding process.
Right.
That is an unfolding process because there's error. We're human. We're going to continue to follow our conditioned ways of being. So I'm very attracted to a rose, and it's so fascinating because Amanda Smith helped me do my rebrand last spring maybe or summer. And it's so fascinating that then I was attracted. She's like, I need a texture for your rebrand. And
I was
like, I love roses. It's
petals.
all been unfolding. Literally, when I launched my rebrand online, my new red glasses arrived. And then in my meditation recently, I wanted to paint this house that we've been in for almost 2 years. This was all blue. This office is blue. And I just was not connected to this light blue. I've never been into blues like that. So this is a very gorgeous red. It's like, I forget what it's called, crimson. So scary to paint with red. Like you make one drip. However,
Yeah,
It's so
that's a spiritual
fascinating. And then,
process right there.
so I mean, especially if you've read the book The Alchemist, there's omens and there's signs.
Yeah.
And if I step back and really just pay attention, when I was a teenager, my screen name was Red Chick 090816. I had an entire wardrobe of red clothes. I had these red bongo flare leg soft pants. They weren't even jeans. Oh, they were my favorite.
Oh, I
They were my
remember
favorite.
that.
And so
So good.
I have been unfolding and embodying the authentic AF
Yeah.
that I've been using, which was like a little rebellious decision when I was doing online networking and participating. And so there's these little things. My coach says they're 1 degree shifts. So I
Mhm.
think about a rose, getting back to the rose, and a rose is unfolding and it's opening up to its fullest beauty, its fullest capacity of just receiving the light and the air and its essence. And so for me, because I'm allowing myself to be spontaneous and follow my intuitive hits, it's happening naturally and organically for me because we all are conditioned to live in our mind. And human design, it's easy to get in your mind, but it's teaching you get out of your mind and get into your body.
Mhm.
Yes, learn the mechanics of your chart, focus on the potentiality of it, and there's your unfolding. And so I've been very attracted to Mary Magdalene right now, the divine feminine, the essence that everything is within. We are remembering, and unfolding is a remembering. God is not here, it's here.
Mhm.
That's a whole, we think we have to do, we're already 26 minutes in. That'll be a part 2. If
Yeah.
we're going to talk that and spirituality and God. I don't know how long you like these episodes, but man, especially as us parents, look at children. They freaking know. My son says he had a dream. He's like, my new name is Kyphon. I was like, okay, no more Ethan.
Wow.
Nope. God came to me and told me my new name is Kyphon. Okay, is that what you want us to call you? Right? My mother-in-law passed away right before our son was born when I was pregnant. It's like, I think she's in our dog. I think Maria is in Sasha. She's with us.
Mm.
Okay, right? So here's the thing is like when we see little things like that, oh, it's cute. But this is like they know. We are born knowing. We are born connected to the divine. We are born knowing how amazing and awesome and sexy and successful. We just think we're so freaking cool because
Mhm.
we are.
Mhm.
So as adults, it's like we feel like we're stepping into something new, but we're not. It's an
Yeah.
unfolding that's happening. We're remembering.
Right.
We're reconnecting. We're reclaiming.
It's so spot on. Again, just for the sake of sharing my own experience to have like an example of what it looks like. I personally have for the past month or 2, I've been in the midst of my own spiritual awakening, very aligned with what you were just saying, which we'll probably talk more about on Wednesday. Um, but it's the remembering. Not gonna lie, having addressed and deliberately deciding to release a lot of conditioning, it puts has put me in a situation where I feel grief for how long I held on to unproductive belief patterns and and stories of how we're supposed to be. And what you just said really struck home for me because and I think that going through like a bit of sadness or grief or sort of that discomfort and the disconnecting from these
Mm,
belief systems you've been holding on to for so long. Of course, there's going to be discomfort in that. And that's what I've been feeling. And when I say grief, I mean, you know, about not really fully not ever really being given the chance or grabbing the chance to embrace what you mentioned of like we all feel amazing and special from, like, birth. That knowing is reality. It's
mm,
all the ways that we're kind of told to contort to being a more safe, approachable, categorizable, that's not even a word, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we're in these boxes, we need to fit in these boxes, and so, we put little parts of ourselves on a shelf. Sometimes we don't realize we're doing it, and sometimes it is extremely painful, so we know we're doing it, right? And so yeah, I think that it's a big deal to call attention to that voice that we had once, whenever it was, that it's like, you're special, you knew you were special. And that's because we all are actually
Mhm.
extremely special. And then you go down the line with that. Okay, then we all have a purpose. you know um there's I know you hate the word, so I'm going to say it because I hate the word too, but there's a concept of that these things and these ways that we can like go within are very woo woo,
Mhm.
right? Like, and whatever the f that means for the people listening, I don't know. If you're listening and you're like, yeah, that's how I feel, then tell me what the hell it means, because like, I don't know. But and that's, so there's a resistance. I just feel like that's just because there's a resistance because of the discomfort I was just explaining, that it is uncomfortable to release these stories that you've been living by. It's
Mhm.
uncomfortable, but the benefit and the payoff on the other end of being to able to embody your true essence and live unapologetically as you, the real you, that special inner you that was always there, is that's the goal here. Like, why the
Mhm.
fuck are we here if we're not doing that?
Mhm. Oh yeah, exactly. Listen, I believe in like divine timing in all things. I've received these texts, these like I don't subscribe to a lot, and so I've cleared out my inboxes and things. But this is Cosmic RX. They send out hundreds, thousands, even more than that of texts. But today's affirmation is: I trust my instincts, value my intuition, and choose what my heart knows is true, no matter what.
Mm,
I've been so very connected to these lately. It's insane what it's not, but it is. But I just
I just wrote that down, and that needs to
Mhm.
happen. That sounds amazing.
We're gonna talk about it in your session this week, but it's this process, this unfolding. People are like, oh well, what are we gonna be doing when I work with you? Because right now I'm opening the doors to my 90-day journey unfold. And so yeah, I might do some yoga, I might do some meditation. It's probably gonna be less yoga and more like dance and really just awakening what feels good in the body. I'm gonna talk about sex with these women and self-pleasure. And we're
Mm,
gonna talk about desire. And it's this process of giving yourself permission to trust the instincts and value your intuition and choosing what your heart knows is true no matter what. And that's what the Mary Magdalene work teaches us, right? What was hidden for so long from institutional Christianity. And that's why I'm so connected to it. And it's fascinating because she wears a red um there's a lot of red in the book, and
yep.
there's a red string. um it's there's not a lot of words, but it's this process of, okay, I feel this, go do it, right? This is accountability to trusting yourself is the process that I'm leading women through, because I'm doing it now. When I moved to South Carolina, I have a friend that was asking me to open up a branch of a mommy blogger tribe. I don't like to say this, oh, I am not this. I'm really try, because we're put in enough boxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These
Yeah.
side parts and skinny jeans and all
Oh
this shit on
god,
the
yeah.
internet is just, they're just more boxes,
Exhausting.
which is why people struggle with spirituality and people struggle with just so many things. But where am I going with this? I decided recently, and I don't know why it was so hard for me, and I didn't think I was a people pleaser, but it's just a dear friend of mine that I said, listen, I'm no longer aligned with this. Yes, I have a visual presence. Yes, I'm a gatherer, but I haven't been aligned with it for a long time. It was something to do, but especially living my human design, it needs to light me the fuck up
Yeah.
if I'm going to show up and do something. And I in this process, just this past 3 to 6 months, I'm realizing I need to just stop doing the things in my life that don't light me up. And it just felt like a really big deal. So I closed down my membership. I started focusing on human design. I joined courses. I hired mentors. I just enrolled in another wealth course last night. It's called the Spiritual Rich Bitch like Accelerator or something. Anyways,
Amazing.
it's wealth embodiment, right? And so I'll be studying gene keys, and my mentor is magnetic, and so and I love her tough love, and so what I'm trying to say here I get a lot of things that come in, and so I'm like, wait, and
That's
try to keep it
okay.
all
Take
together.
your sweet time.
It's This is why I like to just show up and be me, because when you have to try to work so hard to find all these words, which is why I don't say, oh, I am not a blogger. I just tend to not want to write. When I show up online, I like to show up like this, because sometimes you don't even have to say words. Sometimes you're just in someone's presence and you can know and understand and feel what they mean, because the soul is speaking, because we have this a human experience, and we get to give out this energetic exchange when we're just together. And so sometimes I lack words, and sometimes I borrow other people's words, and I try my very darndest to credit every single person of all the things that I've gathered, because we're all just in this experience, sharing with each other, teaching each other, and helping each other remember, right? And so I'm giving myself permission to just do what I love. And of course, there's things in life that we have to do, but why not enjoy the process of the things that we have to do, and only do the things that are truly just nourishing and nurturing, and people are like, well, what's my purpose? What's my path? Well, how many things in life are you doing that you're just doing out of obligation, but not out of this nudge, so it's this process of, all right, well, I thought about doing that thing, then let's do the fucking thing.
Yep. Yep. And the only way that we can actually feel like, I love we were talking about this recently on another episode, like the concept of not feeling ready, or the procrastination or lack of confidence to like just take that first step towards what you feel drawn to naturally and organically. It's in you. You feel a calling, you feel a connection. And then you have this resistance, and it's fear-based, obviously. But so the opposite of that fear spot and like that resistance is going to be like, I'm not I'm not confident, I'm not ready to like
Well,
make
because
moves.
that's
That comes
that's
later.
the habit of giving the mind time to negotiate with
Yeah.
your soul desires.
Yeah.
Unless you have an emotional authority in human design, emotional authority needs to wait it out
Yeah.
to make sure that there's especially if they have their sacral beings with an emotional authority, they need consistent sacral yeses or nos, right? And since, well, I'll use Anna for example, she's an emotional authority, but it's this waiting until you're not at an emotional high or an emotional low, and you have like a 75% clarity and making these big decisions. It's all right, stop giving the mind time to negotiate. I am stepping into this embodiment, this unfolding, this divine feminine. I did a boudoir shoot. It just came into my life. This woman needed a model because they're showcasing their boudoir. My girlfriend, who's a photographer that moved away, she was like, you should do it. And I was like, oh, this is the medicine that I need. This is the medicine I teach. And so I did it. And it was interesting because I observed all the mind drama, every insecurity about why I'm not enough and why I want to wait and why it's not the right time came up, but I was still doing it because I honored the initial nudge. And so now I'm sharing these photos, and it's not, hey, look at Heather, she's confident. Hey, look at Heather, she's sexy. It is scary as fuck to share these photos.
It's literally a
But it is a spiritual nudge to say, this is embodiment, Heather. These photos are for you to share. Because this is the embodiment that I'm experiencing, that I'm teaching.
Right.
So this is why I'm sharing these photos that some might say, oh, those are only for your significant other, or they're only for yourself. No, this is embodiment. There's no shame in this incredible human body that we have. So I'm sharing these things because I got a nudge, I'm doing it. So I'm not giving my mind time to negotiate with the desires, with the nudges.
We're going to go with what's in our, like we say all the time, and how this, go with your gut, being in line with your intuition, your inner knowing, your self-trust, that all comes into play. And you have to, it's a muscle that you just have to use to build it.
And that's embodiment.
Yeah.
So I get affiliated with these communities online, and mindset. Yes, we all need mindset. But how many people, even my friend, she just said, I've read all the books and I've listened to all the podcasts and I've hired all the coaches and I haven't changed. Because has there been embodiment? People are like, oh, we'll have to put it into action. Yeah, it's very masculine. Yes, but there's this inner knowing. There's this, so the mindset is there, but it's So embody, the word body is there.
Mm,
Tune into the body. It's a feminine decision making. It's a feminine experience. Like touch your body and make decisions.
mhm.
Listen, I'm gonna say this, and this is not the content. This was your. I should have said this with your interview with the sex expert. She's like, my meditation. I touch myself. I'm like, okay, this isn't a meditation anymore. This is like a self pleasure time. But it's
Mhm,
like, but that's the sensation, the knowing, like, yes, this is what I want, because now the body's feeling this physical pleasure
mhm,
from a meditation that
mhm.
was peaceful. That's the thing, is meditation. That's another conversation. Many types of meditations.
That is
The
supposed to be
body just keeps
peaceful, yeah.
speaking to me. And for me, I'm experiencing more physical pleasure out
Yeah.
of decision making. And maybe you're not experiencing the level of pleasure that I am in right now, but man, it gets to feel this good.
Mhm.
See, I'm all right. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
have to
no,
come
no,
down,
no.
but I'm hot
You don't
and I don't want to
you
open my
don't tame
window.
it. I know, now I'm getting heated. Woo! For real,
That's the thing,
though.
is I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about pleasure. I want to
Yes.
swear, and I proclaimed it in a post recently. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Mm,
whisper about these things anymore.
yeah. It's funny because, you were even talking about my human design stuff from, like, a projector perspective and how that, sort of gut splenic, those nudges are quiet, and that was very much aligned with what I've been learning from a spiritual perspective about myself over the last, like, 2 or 3 years, that I have this, like, outward approach of being very loud and in your face, and I say "fuck" a lot, and I'm just, like, like, I'm blunt, and I'm that bitch. I'm 100% that bitch, right? Um, but I have been feeling this subtle energy building slowly, quietly over the last couple of years. And we talk about, I just like to bring attention to it because even by having these conversations, that's me embodying what I preach of, like, I'm doing this with you. Like, if you're listening right now and you're trying to heal, or you're trying to make shifts, and you're trying to promote your own wellness from a physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual perspective, or all of the above, like, I'm in it actively now. We all are. We're living by it, but we're at the same time, especially as coaches and mentors like me and Heather are doing, it's like we're doing it too. We're probably only 2 to 5 steps ahead of you. It's
Mm,
not like some kind of, like, I'm not your guru. I mean, I'll
mm,
speak for myself, but it's like kind of one of those things where I need you I need people to understand that, like, I'm in it, so, like, here's how it's, like, manifesting for me. And, so, it's an example of, like, okay, like, if you know me, if you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, yeah, she's 100% that bitch." It is also, like, sitting with that little bit of discomfort of, like, "Oh, shit, like, so I've been, like, here this whole time." But actually, there's this much more subtle, yet somehow more powerful and more
mm,
intuitive voice somewhere else that you have been ignoring for so long. And I know that there are people who will listen to this and be like, "Yep, I do that." So, like, I'm like feeling it right now. Like, I
So here's
know
what's
that you
interesting is,
know.
because of this really strong not persona, but person that you are and have become or always been, it would be very easy to say, like, that you were out of touch with your splenic authority, with your intuition, because it is soft
Yeah.
and because it wasn't big and loud like you
Yeah.
might expect or desire it to be. But I think it's so beautiful that you are, even though you're just learning about human design, where when we sit together, you're, yes, okay, all right, so the unfolding is happening and you're organically living by human design before even really comprehending it, which is so beautiful, which makes it that much easier once you continue to understand more about it. All right, let me continue living in alignment with this unfolding that has been happening, because this is who I'm meant to be. This is how I'm meant to live. And it's just so powerful when this is your show. So, like, freaking always interrupt and share your examples. I think it's just so beautiful and powerful, especially as humans, we like evidence. right? We
That's
love
exactly
evidence,
why I do it.
and
Yeah, because it's
we
like
do, and they're
yeah,
powerful examples, and we all connect to different examples in life. Um, yeah, so I love it.
yeah. Oh my God. I'm so happy that you were able to join me today, even when you're feeling tired and you need some rest. So I hope you get a nap in today. I'm going to because I'm fuck it, let's talk about it. I'm on that opposite spectrum over here. I'm ovulating. So I'm like, yay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine. I was like such in a shit place up until like 2 days ago. And all of a sudden it was like, ah, yeah.
Springtime.
So, and I also went out last night for the first time and God knows how long with a good friend. I just, like I needed that socialization. So
Mhm,
I'm on that high. So it's just, just drawing attention like yeah, like it's okay. Like we're going to have all this ebb and flow. It's just be there now.
mhm.
My friend who I was out with last night, my best friend Matthew is telling us what a wonderful session. Um so I thank you. I really, really thank you for your time. It's been amazing. I can't wait to chat with you more. Just real quick, just for anybody who's still listening, tell us where to find you. And then we'll add it, to the show notes. We'll add everything in.
Yes. So my website is heathernieves.com. It's continually getting updates. Facebook, Heather Nieves. I do have my business page. I mean, I think I had to do Heather M. Nieves because I changed. It's no longer I Love Me Yoga.
Right.
And Instagram, I am Heather Nieves.
Love it. Yes. Oh my God. Follow Heather. She, just, just your energy and your mentorship has meant the world to me in all honesty. Like, I see you post something or I see you in a group and I just feel you and I'm like all in, like I'm inspired to the nth degree. So
And
thank
I
you
love this
again.
so much. I know you're trying to wrap this up.
No, no.
This is the power of the internet. The internet can drag us down or it can lift us up. And that's
Yeah.
so cliche, but we can literally curate our feed online. And
Hmm.
I removed 100 friends
Hmm.
and about 50 followers
Yeah.
on Instagram and unfollowed another 50 people. We can curate what we consume. And of course, we want to be conscious of how much we're consuming and who and what. But man, like it's so beautiful. I love it. I've been connecting with people online for, before it was cool.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to do these live this show live and then obviously as a podcast and for replay because it's like how do you want to consume it? That doesn't have to be a one size fits all. You need to come back to it later, you need to replay it later, you need to check the podcast while you're going for your run or while you're in the car. Like please, I just want these conversations heard because
Mhm.
these are not things for us to feel selfish about and to feel self-centered about and to feel uncomfortable and to feel lonely about addressing, like as if somebody else is not experiencing all of these same questions.
Mhm.
um so it's just so important, but of course, I'm just lucky to have the network of wellness, people in wellness and just like, you know, um, good old fashioned, like everyday people who are like willing to have these conversations, which,
Mhm.
sometimes you get a side eye or an eye roll, but we need our tribe
Oh yeah.
to be good about it, right?
Oh yeah. When women gather together, man, powerful shit happens.
Uh,
So
we are so powerful. Okay. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna end our broadcast. Thank you again, everybody. If you're watching later and if you have any questions, let us know. If you want to get in contact with me, find me on Instagram, the_aligned_heart, or my Facebook group, Self Care with Sam. A lot of good stuff there too. See you guys later.